Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is prophecies were accurate, specifically that Trump will return. So, I, I, I've been like this all day long. I called Leslie and I said, "Is the sun shining a little brighter where you are?" And she said, "Yes, I think it is." I said, "As a matter of fact, I think the sun is shining on all of the 50 states of America just a little brighter today. My guess is that there's probably no storms, no clouds, no rain any place in America today. Why? Because we are rejoicing at the great Trump victory." Now, the prophecies were accurate. 1/20 of 2021, I made this program based upon the prophecies, nothing I have, based upon the prophecies, and it said that Donald would return, and I'm about to reread that. Then I made another program August 5th of 2021, also saying he would return. Made another one August 7th of this year, saying he would return. And I'm going to read some of those prophecies, but first, let's rejoice just a moment. This is MSNBC, one of the real haters of Trump. So it is very rejoicing for me to see this headline, Trump defeats Harris. And also this so far is the electoral votes, 294 for Trump, 52 for the Republican seats, and they say that we might get a couple of more for the Senate, 208 in the House, and hopefully we'll get some more there, meaning that it's a landslide. And I forget which one this comes to us from. I think it was like ABC or CBS. But anyway, they have to report the news. They don't have to report it accurately, but this one they can't get away from. This is HalTurnerRadioShow.com. He is also rejoicing. And this is a list of people that said that they would leave America if Trump wins. And you can see off the side there. So he is inviting them to leave. I'm sorry, I can't wipe the smile off my face today. This is Newsweek, which, of course, can't stand anything Christian. And they say how Donald Trump pulled off the greatest comeback in political history. And they've got a map there that's showing that you can see it's just about all red. Donald Trump wins the election in stunning political comeback, USA Today. So the prophecies were accurate. Let's gloat and rejoice just a moment because we were told, God told us, that he was sending this. Way back in 2016, my favorite speaker of the 160 guest speakers we had, making some 330 DVDs, he's the favorite. So he had a vision. Now he's gone to be with the Lord. He says, "Open the door to see Donald John Trump and his wife dressed like a king. His wife is carrying a shawl on her left arm made of gold tweed with big royal jewels in it. Mr. Trump, to what do we owe the honor of your visit?" He said, "Oh, Henry, never mind. We're family. This is just a family visit, and I just came to see you." He sits, his wife puts his shawl over his shoulders, and it drapes down in front of him, and stands beside him. It is beautiful, made for royalty. The whole visit was strictly family. He was asking about our different children and how they're doing, and we were to visit. And finally, he stands up and says, "Well, I've got a lot to do." He says, "I'll be back. I'll be back." That's 2 times. After the limo drives off, he realizes he had left his shawl. He ran outside waving his arms, and he heard a voice speak to him again and said, "He'll be back." That's 3 times. Now, the thing I want to point out here is he came as a king. What's the difference between a president and a king? A president has the power that the Constitution gives him and the power or the authority that the House and the Senate, combined with the Supreme Court, give him. But in the case of a king, if he comes back as a king, and that's what it's saying here, he would come back with the authority of a king. Now, as in the days of Nebuchadnezzar, whom he would he slew, whom he would he kept alive, whom he would he lifted up, and whom he would he put down. In other words, total authority, and that's the kind of authority it would take to clean our nation. Let's go on. Barry Wunsch, 2021. I woke up at 1:30 and I saw the front cover of a newspaper, Victory. Donald John Trump sweeps the nation. It was a time for the nation to celebrate. Now, remember that word celebrate because I'm going to tie that with something here very important in just a second. It was a time for the nation to celebrate, like after a time of war, the celebration comes. I saw masses of people coming out onto the streets with American flags celebrating. Keep that in mind. There was still some work to be done. There was still high tension in the air, but then I was taken to a fence line outside of the White House and saw a huge crowd gathering. The American people came out onto the streets to see what was going on. I saw people who had conspired and engineered evil surrounded inside the White House with nowhere to run, nowhere to escape. It was the end for them. Now remember, what was it, Tuesday night? 12 helicopters just did a mock emergency evacuation of the White House. Covered that in a couple of programs ago. I saw military troops supporting for safety enter into the White House and the other buildings and escort out the evil ones like prisoners of war. Brought out onto the front lawn of the White House, lined up row upon row in handcuffs and shackles. Their day was over. The crowd cheered with great outbursts as each group was brought out and put on display. The people in the streets cheered as evil was being dealt with. The patriots were singing anthems and songs of victory in the streets, giving thanks unto God. All the corrupted ones were extracted and marched into the streets, surrounded by army, marching them through the streets in humiliation. They were about to face the consequences of all their evil and corruption. They were brought into the portable holding area like a mobile, key word, look at this word, this is important, army base. Why were they taken to an army base? Because it's not the civil police or the FBI or any of those ABC agencies that arrest them, nor try them. They're arrested by the military, tried in a military tribunal where justice is served hard and fast. Into a mobile army base, unit for processing, to face righteous judges. They were going on trial facing justice for the highest of consequences and would get all that they had coming to them for their crimes against humanity. Notice the last three words, crimes against humanity. You see, that's what the executive order specifically gave the military authority to do back in December of 2017 with an executive order that Donald Trump signed. And that is if they're corrupt or if they have committed crimes against humanity. I'm taken to the inauguration ceremony for Donald Trump, surrounded by military. Donald John Trump is inaugurated as President of the United States. There was no showboating. It was serious business. The job was finished and the time to heal and rebuild. I saw the public opposed to Trump instantly see the truth that they could no longer deny. They could now see the evil that had been done by these corrupt ones, and the spirit of anarchy in them had been broken. Now, the scuttlebutt is, at the right time, they will play an 8-hour video on a loop that repeats 3 times a day for 10 days, and the scuttlebutt is that it's supposed to play for 10 days on everything, so that the people can see these smiley faces they thought that were good people were corrupt. They could see what they were doing. I saw military cargo planes, open ramps, and special teams from the United States loaded pallets of legal documents, departing to other nations to go and do likewise. In other words, apparently it's not just America's about to get a house cleaning. To go and do likewise to foreign dignitaries awaiting their arrival in other nations. Plans were strategically set in place to arrest and bring foreign corrupt leaders to justice. The world will never be the same. I watched them deploy into nations after nation, and they rejoiced in the streets as justice was served. Freedom of truth and righteousness flowed like waters. Those who were left standing had a great reward. It was revival time, a time to heal, so great things are coming. April 2, 2021, Jack Rigney. I saw an armored battalion of tanks, Humvees, and roof-mounted machine guns and armored personnel carriers with cannons go to the Capitol, Supreme Court, and to the White House. Army personnel disarmed all Secret Servicemen, guards, and police guarding those buildings. Then the Army personnel went back into all three different buildings and took whatever they wanted. He saw the military take temporary control of the nation to arrest the evildoers. That's two people said that. And the wrongdoers, and that's the way the Constitution would have it done. Under certain circumstances, the military can step in and take temporary control of the nation to put things back in order, and that is what I saw. Timothy Dixon, 2022. Now, this is heavily edited as he stumbles a lot. I heard the EBS warning. That's the two people that have seen the same thing, okay? EBS warning sounding. It came over the telephone and in the voice alert saying, "Stay tuned to this is emergency broadcast system alert. You will be advised to turn your local television radio station to hear the accurate message from the President of the United States." We turn on our TV. It was President Trump saying, "This is Donald Trump, the President of the United States. It is 5 o'clock this evening, Eastern Standard Time. The United States is in a joint military operation now underway to regain control of the Capitol, as it was breached by a foreign agency and a foreign identity. Plain-looking pickup trucks, and some black and some brown, were putting people inside and coming out of the Capitol and the White House." And then the TV went blank, totally blank. A man appeared to me and rose, sitting in the chair, saying, "Can you hear the sound of chains rattling?" And he repeated it. "Can you hear the sound of chains rattling?" Meaning, can you hear people being arrested? Now let's jump to Jason Meeks, 2021. The dream started. We stopped at this. I read this twice, and then he read it here a couple of programs ago. ATM. Put in a card, got some money out, realized he didn't have enough card, put it back in, and all of a sudden the fee had jumped from $1 or two to $42, meaning our financial system changed. That's a big key. We're about to have a change of power in our government. Are we about to have a change of power in our financial system? In other words, what it appears to me is that God is allowing us to remove the Moloch and Baal control of our government and also remove the Moloch and control from our financial system. So we get a new government, we get a new financial system. That's what he's talking about. That's a key. We drove back home, stopped at a major bank, and the television screens were showing massive arrests. That's three people saying that. An alert went out on my cell phone. Donald John Trump was assuming control as the new president. I expected people to be rioting and looting, but they were happy. Celebrating. That's the second time we heard that word, celebrating. Celebrating the streets, almost like VJ Day after World War II. In the dream, a man came to me and started crying, saying how all his evil bosses had been arrested and rounded up, telling me he was now in charge of the bank. He was a Christian and had been praying for this for years. As people took to the streets in victory and celebration, we joined in. We jumped on the back of a fire truck to catch the ride and the parade because the streets were so full you could not walk. Everything was amazing. Then I heard a huge explosion. A suitcase nuke had been detonated within the city. I didn't see the explosion, but I saw the shock wave from it. We jumped off the truck, ran into the restaurant for safety. But we were far away. There was no mass nuclear effect, just broken windows and glasses for us, more like an earthquake. Then an alert came over my cell phone saying, "Nuclear emergency, shelter in place." We were scared, but alive. Another person, Timothy Dixon, 22. The Lord took my hand. I'll skip this, but the headline he saw was, "He's back." President Donald John Trump is back, in big letters. I saw a report on Washington, D.C. station from Fox 5 Alive on the microphone say, "They just called in the National Guard. They're putting security fences around the White House," which happened this past week. "They're putting security fences around the White House, Supreme Court, and all the other important government buildings. There's hostility due to the overwhelming truth coming out about the cover-up of the election now exposed in this takeover of America. Maybe that is about to happen. People were being arrested. A lot of mischief was coming to light. There were emergency hearings at the Supreme Court building. There was anger and hostility. It was not just over Roe v. Wade. The truth was intentionally being revealed. God was exposing and shaking things. I saw senators, governors, and other government officials who had not accepted any cheating now seeing video proof. That was undeniable. They changed their minds instantly. Things flipped and totally turned around instantly. The news was forced to air this. It was overwhelming. The evidence took over the deep state. About 12 to 15 senators and mixed politician leaders saw the video of the silencing of the witnesses. The footage of the silencing of the witnesses was to take them out. They were calling the video the silence of the lambs. It showed hostilities taking place inside the Capitol. Tables were turned against evil, now revealing the truth. I saw some handcuffed, arrested, others running to avoid arrest. It happened fast. The deep state didn't have time to retaliate. I saw Mike Pence on the steps of the Supreme Court. He was helping overturn this evil. This was all carefully planned and executed. It was the reversal of procedures. They were reversing evil. They had some trouble completing the reversal. There were delays in restoring the presidency. They had to produce a new strategy. The reporter said, "It appears that we have been at war with ourselves, a civil war, but we never fired a shot." So, I think it's time to say to some of these individuals that God has spoken to, shown them the things of the future that are now coming to pass. I think it's time to say, thank you, Lord. Thank you for revealing and thank you for showing us the things of the future. I also think it's high time, if you have not already asked Jesus into your heart, you better get after it. There's changes in the wind, some good, some not so good. But right now, I'm rejoicing that Trump got in. In 2021, I started making bread, and long story short is I believe God showed me that wheat is God's famine food, just like it was famine food back in the 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine, days of Pharaoh and Joseph. And I believe that that's what God has planned to feed his people. And you get it by going to josephskitchen.com. 3 steps. First, you want to get a machine package. Second, you want to order 6 ingredients and watch some videos, download the recipes to be able to make the bread. josephskitchen.com. Most of your long-time storage food, emergency food, all of that, typically are talking $9,000, $10,000 to feed one person for a year. Joseph Kitchen can show you how to do it for around $1,000 a person, and your kids will actually eat it, and it's actually good for you. Here's some bread that I made. In my case, I lost weight, lowered my blood pressure, gives me more energy. I eat a morning, slice in the morning, slice in the afternoon. There's always a slice before I go play racquetball. Go check it out, josephskitchen.com. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians, and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper, and as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. When the suitcase nukes, I didn't say if, I said when the suitcase nukes go off, if you want your car to start, if you want your computers and your refrigerators and things like that, anything with a computer chip to work, you want to have one of these. from EMPShield.com. EMPShield.com. And they have videos up there. It takes about 10 minutes to put on. It's not complicated at all. And if you use the word prophecy, promo code prophecy, you get a $50 discount, and it helps your prophecy club. We've got a new sponsor. It's sat123.com. Sat123.com. I'm amazed at what this company offers. They got satellite phones. They've got Wi-Fi hotspots where you can even have internet any place. So suitcase nukes go off in your city. If you don't have to worry about that, you still have electricity. It can go right up and connect to a satellite. They also have marine satellite internet. They also have satellite radios so that you can talk back and forth, even though, in other words, it's not a phone, it's a radio, but it's satellite. So go check it out, satellite123.com. And if you use the promo code PROPHECY, there's several different kinds of discounts.